Bonjour classe, aujourd'hui c'est vendredi, le 22 février, and I'm going to go over what we did today if you were absent. So we're going to go to weekly warm-ups. Go to les échauffements. Le 22 février, which was this one. And I passed out parts of an article. And one person in each group read the article, and then we wrote down some different things that we learned about Claude Monet. We wrote them, we started on page 83, and then if we ran out of room, we went on to page 84. But this picture was painted by Claude Monet in 1899, and it's called the Japanese Footbridge. So what I will do is I will type up the list of facts. And actually, no, you can click on the link here, and you can click on the link here, and it will take you straight to the biography that I used. And here's a picture of him. All right. So we talked about when he was born. We talked about the fact that he's one of the most famous painters in the history of art. That he was known for drawing caricatures in his younger years, early elementary and teenage years, and selling them. The fact that he did not like to be inside, he liked to be outside. So yeah, here, Monet became well known for his caricatures and for drawing many of the town's residents. He even made money off of it. He also was introduced to the natural world by Eugène Boudin, who was a local landscape artist, and that's where Monet's really started to learn how much he loved being outdoors and painting outdoors. So then, instead of doing what his dad wanted him to do and go into the family business, he decided to pursue his art in 1859. He joined the military and was in the military for 2 years. Okay, so anyway, he loved to work outdoors. Then he was accepted to the Salon of 1865, which was an annual art show in Paris, where there were judges, and people from all over would be invited to this art show to show their work, and he was one of the ones that got acceptance. And so he showed off his first 2 paintings that the show chose were the marine landscapes that he had done, which I don't have pictures right now. Then the following year, he went and participated again. And this time, the show officials chose a landscape and a portrait, Camille, or also called Woman in Green. And this ended up being his wife. Camille was his first wife. They fell in love and they got married. So, something not so nice was that there was a lot of hardship, financial hardship, after their son Jean was born, and Monet was so depressed that he tried to kill himself in 1868 in the Seine River, but he didn't succeed, obviously. Another important fact is that Monet and Camille, this man, Monsieur Louis Joachim Gaudibert, became a patron of Monet's work, so he started commissioning work from Monet, and this is what helped him continue to work and earn money. Some other interesting things was in 1874, that was actually a turning point for him. It's when the Salon, the 1874 exhibition, the judges called his work more like sketches than finished paintings. So, which triggered the new title of the movement that he was starting, Impressionists. That's when they were dubbed the Impressionists. And it was meant to be a negative comment from the judges, but Monet just took it and said, no, this is what we are, and this is going to be a new movement, and I'm not changing just because these judges don't like it. So he kept it, and the whole goal for Monet was to capture the essence of the natural world using strong colors and bold, short brushstrokes. That's why his art is not very detailed. It's not very defining. He likes the impressions that it gives him. Then Camille got sick after their second son, Michel, was born, and she ended up developing a cancer and died. So he ended up marrying a woman named Alice, who happened to be the wife of Ernest, with whom he and Camille and their kids were actually living. And then when Camille died, Monet and Alice started liking each other, and Ernest was away a lot. So then after Ernest died, they got married in 1892. So that was the second wife. And really, the time that he started shining as a painter and really became well known and recognized was in the late 1880s and 1890s. And he is when he started the series, the Water Lily paintings. And so that's when he really started gaining renown. Then his wife Alice died in 1911, and then he developed cataracts in his eye, his right eye, in 1912, so he was starting to go blind. But he was commissioned to do 12 water lily paintings by the Orangerie des Tuileries, which was a museum in Paris. And so he did it, and he was paid for it. And then he ended up dying on December 5th, 1926, at his home in Giverny. And his biggest accomplishment, I would say, would be that he helped change the world of painting by shaking off the conventions of the past. By dissolving forms in his works, Monet opened the door for further abstraction in art, and he is credited with influencing such later artists as Jackson Pollock, Mark Rothko, and Willem de Kooning. So, since 1980, Monet's Giverny home has housed the Claude Monet Foundation, which I actually visited there. It was pretty cool. So anyway, so we wrote down a bunch of facts, mainly the ones that I kind of pointed out to you that you might want to pause the video and write down. All right, so after that, for the regular classes, 4th, 6th, and 7th, we worked some more in the workbook. We started going over more answers in the workbook, and then we ran out of time. So that is all we did. As far as 5th period goes, we finished going over our writing activity, or our reading comprehension activity, an élève thaïsien. So we finished reading the dialogue, and then we answered the rest of the questions, which you can most definitely get from a classmate. And same with the workbook for the other classes. All right? Bon week-end, bon après-midi, au revoir.